There is a tremendous amount of confusion and even misinformation when it comes to cannabis. What do people mean when they say cannabis? Do they mean marijuana? Do they mean hemp? And what's the difference between marijuana and hemp? Marijuana is a Spanish language word of uncertain origin. It was popularized in the US during the 1930s by advocates of prohibition who sought to exploit prejudice against minority groups, especially Mexican immigrants. Given this history, many are reluctant to use the word marijuana, and they use the term cannabis instead. While this is well-intentioned, it also creates some confusion. First of all, not all cannabis is marijuana. Second, marijuana is a legal term. It can't be avoided when discussing the regulatory status of the plant. From a scientific standpoint, cannabis refers to the genus of the plant. The cannabis plant is a member of the Cannabaceae botanical family. The Cannabaceae family includes 10 genera, which is plural for genus, and 100 different species of herbs, shrubs, trees, and flowering vines. Hops, which are used to brew beer, is also a member of the Cannabaceae family. The scientific name for the hops plant, however, has a different genus and species, Humulus, lupulus, respectively. Although highly debated, most experts agree at this point that cannabis is monotypic, meaning there's only one species, sativa. Indica is not a distinct species. It does not meet the scientific standard to be classified as such. It is a separate subspecies. Therefore, the correct names are Cannabis sativa sativa and Cannabis sativa indica. These subspecies of cannabis have become confused with everyday language of sativa and indica as used by cannabis breeders, bud tenders, and consumers. This is also a source of confusion. When referring to marijuana flower and products, indica and sativa are really just labels that are used to reflect the different physical characteristics of the plants themselves, and to some extent to help consumers better predict the anticipated effects, although this has not been scientifically validated. Cannabis is thought to originate in Central Asia in the foothills of the Himalaya. Cannabis seeds were spread throughout the world following migration patterns, conquests, and trade routes. The plant has been cultivated for 10,000 years or more. The first medical use is thought to be recorded by a Chinese emperor who was a pharmacologist. He wrote a book on treatment methods around 200 BCE, which included descriptions of the medical benefits of cannabis. He recommended it for many ailments, including constipation, gout, rheumatism, and absent-mindedness. The plant was originally named by a Swedish botanist named Carl Linnaeus in 1753. He is known as the father of modern plant taxonomy. His book, Species Plantarum, was published in 1753. It is widely considered ground zero for botanical nomenclature. Marijuana and hemp are both cannabis sativa, same genus and same species. Historically, they were distinguished from one another by their phenotype, or their physical appearance, which was a reflection of their intended use. Hemp was cultivated to produce fiber for industrial use, for textiles like ropes and fabrics, and also for seeds. As a result, hemp plants have historically been very tall, with long, thick stalks and small, loose, flowering tops. Marijuana plants, on the other hand, have historically been cultivated to produce phytocannabinoid-rich resin from the resin glands in the flowers of the female plants. Marijuana plants have historically been shorter, with large, dense, resinous flowering tops. Times have changed. Now hemp is being cultivated to produce CBD and other phytocannabinoids. As a result, hemp plants can look more like marijuana plants. You can walk through fields of hemp plants in eastern or western Canada that may look more similar to marijuana plants. So then what makes them different? Today, these two types of cannabis are distinguished by their THC content. Hemp is essentially cannabis with low amounts of THC. Starting in 1998, the industrial hemp regulations allowed Canadian farmers to grow a Health Canada cultivar of hemp. From a regulatory standpoint, these plants are considered hemp if they contain 0.3% THC or less in the leaves and the flowering tops. In the US, the distinction is similar. This is the definition of hemp in the 2018 Farm Bill. It refers to a threshold of THC not more than 0.3% by dry weight. In Canada, cannabis plants that exceed the 0.3% threshold are classified as marijuana. They are regulated according to the Cannabis Act of 2018. Hemp is now regulated under the same act. In the US, cannabis plants that exceed the 0.3% threshold are also classified as marijuana, but marijuana is not exempt from the Controlled Substances Act in the United States. Thus, marijuana is federally prohibited. It is not prohibited at the state level, however, and is available in most US states for medical and sometimes recreational use by adults. Hemp is no longer confused as being a controlled substance since the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill in the US. There's also some confusion about the therapeutic value of hemp-derived CBD versus marijuana-derived CBD. Some say that marijuana-derived CBD is therapeutically superior. But how could it be? The CBD molecule itself is exactly the same, regardless of its source. Any differences that may exist between marijuana-derived CBD products and hemp-derived CBD products could not be due to the CBD itself. Differences, if present, would have to be due to other constituents, most likely THC, which is present in greater amounts in marijuana-derived products, but also the other compounds. Marijuana-derived products may also contain a broader collection of phytochemicals, like terpenes and terpenoids, for example. These compounds have their biological effects in the body and may also create a synergy with cannabinoids that is often described as the entourage effect. It is important to note that perceived differences between hemp-derived CBD products and marijuana-derived CBD products are subjective and have not been studied comparatively by researchers. In Canada, marijuana-derived and hemp-derived CBD products are available at Health Canada-approved licensed providers, or LPs. They can be purchased directly from an LP with valid documentation from a physician or from a provincially approved dispensary or provincial liquor commission. LPs must utilize Health Canada-approved third-party labs to confirm cannabinoid content and to test all cannabis and cannabis products for harmful constituents such as solvents, pesticides, heavy metals, and microbials, as per Health Canada standards. In the US, hemp-derived CBD products are more available than marijuana-derived products. They are available online and in health food stores, and even some pharmacies and grocery stores. Marijuana-derived CBD products, on the other hand, are only available in licensed dispensaries in states with medical and/or recreational laws and regulations. In summary, scientifically speaking, cannabis refers to the genus of the plant. Sativa and indica are subspecies, not species, and marijuana and hemp are both cannabis sativa. They're just different types of cannabis sativa. And historically, they were cultivated for different purposes. But things have changed, and now many hemp plants are cultivated to produce resin. Cannabis plants that exceed 0.3% THC are classified as marijuana in Canada as well as the United States. Marijuana-derived and hemp-derived CBD products are available at Health Canada-approved licensed providers, or LPs.